Hello, in this video we're going to be answering question 5. Let's give it a read. It says, write the rule for a graph that matches the given information. A y-intercept of 4 and an x-intercept of -4. Okay, let's take a step back. What are we after? What are we trying to figure out in this question? We're trying to write the rule. Well, let's write down what our rule looks like. I'm going to write that as y is equal to mx plus c. Now, let's stop here for a moment. This m is simply the coefficient of x, and we know that a linear rule that we've been looking at for all this unit always has a coefficient of x, and I'm just using the pronumeral m to represent my coefficient of x. So let me just say that again. I'm just using the pronumeral m to be my coefficient of x, because we know that a linear rule always has a coefficient of x. That's one of the components that it has. That's what we've been learning about in this unit. The other component a linear rule has is a constant. And here I'm just letting my constant be represented by the letter c. So the pronumeral c is being used to represent the constant. So my m is representing my coefficient of x. My c is representing my constant. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to find what m and c is. That's what we're trying to do. What is m and c? What are they, rather? What are m and c, if you want to be grammatically correct, I suppose? What are m and c? Because if we can figure out what m and c are, we can figure out what the rule is. So let's now look at what we've been given here. We've been told that my y-intercept is 4 and my x-intercept is -4. Well, let's look here first. If my y-intercept is 4, I've been given a coordinate, haven't I? Because I know that I'm going to have the coordinate 0, 4. Because my y-intercept is telling me, hey, when your x is equal to 0, your y is equal to 4. That's what we've been learning about in this exercise. The y-intercept only occurs when your x is 0. So if they're telling me that the y-intercept is 4, they've also given me an x-intercept. They've told me, hey, when x is equal to 0, y is equal to 4. And so too, when we now look at our x-intercept of -4, and let's just write this over here, they've given me coordinates here as well. They've told me that when your x is equal to -4, your y is equal to 0, because I know that my x-intercept occurs when the y is equal to 0. What I'm now going to do, so let's just pause, let's appreciate what we've done there. What I'm now going to do is I'm going to sub in this point into this rule. Sub in point into rule. And we have the rule. Let me just write it up there. Into rule. What is my rule? My rule is y is equal to mx plus c. I'm now going to sub in the point 0, 4. 0 is my x value. So I'm going to put 0 there. And 4 is my y value. Now, what can we do here? Well, what is m times 0? It's just 0, because anything times 0 is just 0, right? Plus c. What's 0 plus c? Or in other words, what's nothing plus c? Well, it's just c. So that means c is equal to 4. This is important. We have just found out what my c is equal to. Oh, that's a bit laggy, isn't it? We've just found out what my c is equal to. My c is equal to 4. So now what I can do is I can come over here. I'm going to rewrite this, y is equal to mx plus, but instead of c, I'm going to write 4. Because that's what we know, c is equal to 4. I'll also let you in on a bit of a spoiler for upcoming exercises. What we're going to find out in upcoming exercises is that when we have a linear rule in this form, the constant, so c, is always going to be just what the y-intercept is. So you see how my y-intercept is 4 and my constant is 4? So technically, we didn't have to do this working out. We could have just known that, hey, the y-intercept is 4, that means my constant is 4. But that's for later exercises. For now, we expect you to do this working. All right, let's keep on going. For the next one, I've got -4, 0. Well, we're going to do the same thing. Sub in point into rule. But guess what? Our rule is now this one, because we know what c is equal to. So let's use that. So I'm going to now take my rule, which is y is equal to mx plus 4, like that, and into my x spot, I'll put -4, and into my y spot, I'll put 0. Let's now see if we can figure this out. We have 0 is equal to, what's m times -4? Well, it's just -4m, and then I've got plus 4 there. And now I need to solve for m. Because remember, the whole thing, what we're doing here is we're solving for m and we're solving for c. So now I'm solving for m because we already know what c is. So I'm going to get m by itself. So I'm going to have to subtract by 4. -4 is equal to -4m. And then I need to get 4m by itself. So that means I'm going to have to divide by -4. I'm going to have to divide by -4. And that means I'm going to get, what's -4 divided by -4? It's 1. What's -4m divided by -4? It's just m. And remember, that was the whole point. We wanted to find out what m is by itself. And now we know what m is by itself. M is equal to 1. That is our answer. So now what we can do is we can come up here and we can say, hey, I know that m is equal to, drumroll, 1. And of course, you don't have to write 1, do you? Let me just move this a bit. You just write y is equal to x plus 4. And that, everyone, is your answer. My OneNote's a bit laggy. There we go. And just because it's that important, let me get a red and put a box around it. So y is equal to x plus 4. The moral of the story. First, write down what your general rule is. You find m and find c by subbing in the relevant points, and realize that when they've given you the y-intercept and the x-intercept, they've given you coordinates that you can sub in to do your work. Hopefully this has made sense. Hopefully now you can give the 5B a good go. Make sure that you reach out if you're having any troubles, and I'll see you in the next one.